The what? Just do a club. There you go. What's up, man?
Good, bro. Sorry I'm a few minutes late to this party. The Zoom was giving me a little bit of an issue here. It doesn't really want to go in. I'd love to see your face, but it wasn't working. So anyhow, man, how long do I have you for? I know your time is very, very valuable.
I don't know. I said 15 minutes, but I guess it'll depend on the flow and the quality of questions and what I can deliver to you.
Awesome, my brother. Awesome. Well, Grant, I appreciate your time, man. So I just hired 3 ISAs for my department, and I know you're the king of the ISA world, and just wanted to see what tips, what suggestions, best practices. I think I messaged you maybe a couple of those that you could share with me.
Yeah. Let me pull those up real quick. Have you ran an ISA model before, or is this something?
Back in the day, I used to have, lead coordinators. This was before the, ISA word even came about, but I only had one gal. So instead of the leads going to my agents, they would go to her. But ever since then, to, fast forward to now, I have not had, a call center or an ISA. The agents have been the ones doing it. My seller leads would normally go to my assistant, like my executive assistant. She would book the appointment, and then that would be it.
Are those inbound leads, or are those like outbound?
Those would be inbound leads from radio. But, like one of the things, I've been listening to some of your stuff on YouTube. I was kind of curious, if you have how you run like your hybrid system, that you mentioned about.
Right.
Like if all the leads just go to the ISA team, or if they go to the ISA team and the agents.
What CRM are you using?
What?
What CRM are you using?
We're using Boomtown. Yep. So that's what you guys use too, right?
Right. Yeah. So I'm just kind of scanning some of these questions you have real quick. Let me knock some of these out. Yeah, so I guess I'll start with a hybrid system, and then we'll reverse engineer from there. Since 2010, I've almost tried every model, trying to tie their income together, different shifts. Does the lead just go to the agent? When does we take it from the agent? Does the ISA hold the lead or set on the lead? And a lot of different things that I had tried had created culture issues, or it bottlenecked the pipeline and didn't allow for the core selling process to flourish, if you will. So the hybrid system was really what I came up with in about 2013-ish. And it's really it really helped us explode in terms of production with the same amount of agents and ISAs. So every single lead goes to a round robin system to an agent. We're going to talk about internet leads for a minute, right? So
yep.
The agent is responsible for prospecting, response times, etc. Just as much as people love what we do with our call center stuff. We teach our agents to be self-sufficient and focus on data management and prospecting and all that stuff. So they're getting the leads, and hopefully they get the first crack at them. So essentially, we're not having to pay to be able to convert those from a company standpoint, because we pay
to an ISA, yeah.
Because we pay $50 for a confirmed appointment. All right, and I'll get more into that in a minute. But a confirmed appointment means it showed up, it occurred, and actually happened. Okay, so we want to be able to have the agent get the lead first, and then every 12 or every morning, every 24 hours, we do an export and put that into our auto dialer. It doesn't matter if that lead had talked to an agent or not talked to an agent. Every single lead in our company, whether it's inbound, outbound, all of our lead sources, all that data still gets ran back across the call center. Now, depending if they spoke with the agent or not spoke with the agent will dictate if it's our normal structure of a call where It's our quad word tracks, if you will, in terms of taking a pre-approval attempt, attempting to set a listing appointment, a buyer appointment, or focused on customizing the account and creating to-dos to follow up with them, right? Now, if the agent had spoke with them and customized the account, went through the normal prospecting script, then we take more of a customer care role and just letting them know the unique value propositions from the company, spot checking the agent. Sometimes they make calls on the go, so we do set appointments if they've already spoke with the agent, or customize the account, because we know on the buyer side that they don't shop for agents, they shop for homes. So you want to make sure you get your e-alerts, home hunter alerts set up, and it's relevant to their needs.
So you guys are kind of like a catch-all account. Every 24 hours, you're in case something was missed, you guys kind of come in there and catch it.
Yeah, the best terminology, like I use at conferences and stuff like that, it's a safety net.
Safety net, yes.
Yeah, so it's kind of like no lead left behind. That's kind of the motto in terms of big data, because we could be calling depending on the time of year. I've had some turnover with some ISAs, but we'll dial anywhere between 8,000 to 10,000 dials. That's just on internet leads. Now we're welcoming them to the website and saying thank you for registering, and really just positioning ourselves with that pattern interrupt, and creating that long-term relationship. So, and if it's other leads like our IVRs, text to writer stuff, Z buyers, or different lead sources that can't connect with the open API with Boomtown, then or the sign calls, because we even though we have an agent on duty from 8 a.m. till 9 o'clock at night taking our sign calls, we still cross-check those back across the call center and attempt to get them opted into Boomtown if the agent wasn't able to get them in there as well. And so the hybrid system is, a lot of people are like, well, when do I take the lead away from the agent? When do I transfer it to an ISA? When does the ISA transfer back to an agent? What's up? I'm in Zoom, so you're going to be able to. Hold on. We got a coaching session that should be happening. Yeah, you might need to get a hold of Mark. I'm just in a one-off session here. I'm not in the group. Let me see. Let's see if I can log in and get you. Sorry, we got a coaching session that kicks off at 9:30 where it's let me in, so I'll just let you in and turn it over to you, and then. Yeah, my ISA couldn't get in here. On Mondays,
no, that's cool, man.
Monday is what we kick off with. Actually, what I'm helping her log into is on Mondays.
You will no longer hear beeps until someone else joins the conference.
Just to kind of give you a snapshot of this, what she's going to be doing is people are going to be syncing in from across the country in the ISA program, and they're going to be watching how she sets up the call center. So what I'm talking to you about doing the exports, she's going to be having people shadow her on how to do the exports, how we manage all of our lead sources, how she's going to set up the call center for the rest of the ISAs today, because I have one person that focuses on data management. So the other ISAs just come in, put the headset on, and zip. And then she's also going to go through the agent accounts and different lead sources to see who raised their hand and didn't get a response or wasn't taken care of over the weekend, set listing appointments, take pre-approval, or buyer appointments. And people will be able to hear the call, ask questions after the call, and then be able to screen share to see the screen as well. Let me know when you have here. Let me pass this to you so I can get off this, Barb. Make presenter. All right, you have it? All right. So hold on here. Promote attendee. All right. So here, let me shut my door real quick. All right, man. So okay. So I used to transfer leads away from the agents, right? And that was kind of like my carrot on the stick. I'm going to take this lead away from you if you're not doing what you're supposed to be doing.
Yeah.
If you, like some of those techniques that I was hearing at conferences, 3 or 4 years ago before I stuck to this model. I've tested a lot of different stuff, and a lot of it, some of it can work when you're smaller. We coach a wide variety of different teams. For example, we'll coach somebody that just has a couple people on their team all the way to, we coached also the number 3 team in the country last year. So, everybody's just on a different journey. And I think at different stages, different things are necessary to do, but you also have to be flexible and reevaluate things every quarter to get to that next growth pattern. And, what happened is we ended up, from a company standpoint, absorbing all the leads back into the ISA accounts, but then that bottlenecks, and you're only going to be able to convert as well as that ISA if you're running everything through an ISA. That might work when you're a smaller team, or if you're hoarding back the leads from your agents for accountability or that carrot on the stick, you're going to end up swelling up those databases with ISAs, and they're no longer going to be able to keep up with all the lead sources and do what is necessary. We're still kicking out, even with us being down we're down probably 2 ISAs for where I'd like to be. And we're still at 30 to 40 appointments on used data because the agent's already speaking with most of the data first, and we're that safety net. That's just money that was being left on the table. So what you can do.
You're talking 30 to 40 appointments a month?
A week.
A week.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you got what, 4 ISAs?
Right. Yeah. Right now I have 3 outbound and 1 inbound. I.e., inbound is handling all of our radio, farming, postcard stuff, just all of our calls in from for inbound. So I'm probably down 2 outbound ISAs. I'd like to have 5 outbound and 1 inbound, but I've had some turnover. Had to release an ISA, been with me here 6 years just recently, a couple weeks ago. So actually, right for you, call, that's what I was doing, was sifting and sorting through resumes. But let's see, let's get back to the hybrid stuff. So if you're running Boomtown, what you want to do is give them broker access. So I coach our agents to use the integrated Mojo dialer in Mojo, but from the call center standpoint, we don't use the integrated part because we're managing expansion offices, Kansas City, Springfield, here. So we're managing about 50 agents, and there's no way we can get in each account and upload their stuff and just focus on their accounts because it's all about contact ratios, right? And so you want to be able to get in and out of conversations as quick as possible. And so we do exports from our markets and for our agents, and we create databases, and we know which area we're calling in. And whenever we get a live contact on the phone, it doesn't matter the agent. We're able to pull them up in Boomtown since we're running dual monitors, and then we quickly can see which agent they're tied to, the co-marketing lender, because we have 8 to 10 different co-marketing lenders synced in with us. And then we're able to manage that profile or suspect prospect while it's in the agent's account. So we're able to put notes on there, tag the agent, tag the lender. The inside sales agent can create their own to-dos as well, and all of that stays with the agent. What you are able to get out of that is like the 1-2 punch. So if you just leave it with the agent, you're gonna be at the mercy of how well that agent can convert. If they didn't call them, and then maybe you tell the agent, well, if you make contact before the agent or you build rapport and there's no agent notes, just transfer it back under you, you're going to end up having an inside sales agent's database swell up, and then you're not going to get the 1-2 punch where the ISA and the agent are both working it. And so
how are you paying under this hybrid model? How do you compensate?
Okay. So that was the $50 confirmed appointment. So we used to tie their income together, and it created culture issues. And what I mean by that is the agents would say that the ISAs aren't creating good appointments or blah, blah, blah. Or the ISAs are saying the agents aren't doing their job, and that was a good lead. And so we have set a standard, a quality benchmark, right? A watermark of quality. And, and that's what the ISAs have to aim for. And so whether it's asking about 25 questions on the listing questionnaire, qualified listing appointment, or with our buyer appointments, taking them and getting them to start the pre-approval process, or providing a proof of funds, or bringing their pre-approval letter if they're already pre-approved to the buyer consultation. So we're only setting pre-approved and qualified buyer and listing appointments. So if they set 10 of those, I have years worth of data on the ISA call log and master tracker that we give our coaching clients, and we show them how to use that. About 70% of our appointments show up and confirmed and actually happen. And we pay $50 per confirmed appointment, not set, but showed up confirmed appointment, whether it's a listing appointment or a buyer's appointment. We run off a Google Calendar, so the way that we send out and email our appointments and put them on the Google Calendar congruent, and then the agent goes in there and puts if the appointment didn't happen or did happen and gives them some feedback. They take that stuff and funnel it back into our spreadsheets. My operation guy projects everything to me in different spreadsheets. But cost of living you have to take into an account. I'm not saying that we pay $500 a week as a base, and then we pay $50 for a confirmed appointment. I think I just gave them all $1 raise here recently when we had some turnover. So they might make five whatever a week with the confirmed appointments. Our average price range in town is $140,000 in Sedgwick County. And so, if you're in a much larger price range, you're going to have to base your appointments and your base off of cost of living in that area. So, if
you're not tying them to like a 5% or 10% on the back end. You used to do that, but no longer.
We used to attempt to tie them to production, to closings, right? And it created issues because the agent and ISA would constantly be fighting. And as we have turnover with our agents and expand, we don't need them to look at each other like adversaries. They need to be running parallel together. And the way that we do our notes and our commission and set appointments and pay the bonuses now, the client couldn't tell that they were in the same office or in different markets, the way that it works. I will tell you there has to be accountability for the agents. So I have 5 to 7 coaches that work directly on our team, and they sit down with the actual agent, and they have teams within the team, and they sit down and do one-on-ones with them. How many new buyer appointments did they have? Which one were ISA created? How many consultations they had got hired commitments from? How many homes did they pin? What they closed?
And who runs these meetings?
So I have 5 to 7 coaches on our team. So I coach the coaches to coach the people on our team. I used to coach every single person on our team, but as our operations have gotten larger, we have 80 people now. My group had to get smaller, and so they're the ones that's tagging them with the living, breathing conversion number. And then we also have a lead listing agent that manages the listing agents and works with them on price drops, issues, appointments to listings, all of that stuff. Transactions.
So with in regards to, let's say, one of your ISAs, are they prospecting like Vulcan or stuff like that, or no?
Yeah. So yeah, we run expired FSBOs, all that stuff.
And they make $50 if they book that appointment, and that's it.
If the appointment happens, not if they book it, they don't get paid.
Yeah, correct.
Yeah, right. So Mondays is focus on database management is what we call in our coaching program, and then you're hearing us make targeted, optimized calls to clean up the database and how we set up the call center. Tuesdays is like 2 hours where you're able to shadow our ISA that runs a Vulcan, and you're able to screen share with her and see how she calls FSBOs, expireds, word tracks, how we process those, or how we get them into Boomtown as well. Wednesdays is listening up to us follow up with how we scrub all of our sign calls, IVR stuff back across the call center, how we handle maybe internet leads for our expansion team, whatever really needs to be getting caught up with on that particular day on Wednesdays. And then Thursdays is the foundations call this is actual coaching, and then the advanced call, and then call night where you're able to listen, kind of where you have seen me post or go live on Thursday nights where we have an ISA making calls, but I'm there actually giving feedback and telling the group why she's doing what she's doing. Or this is a way for me to spot check to make sure our quality of conversations is being held to that standard that we have, and our data is being managed appropriately. And so it's about 8 hours a week if you're going to sink in and shadow us to do something like that. But
how much do you guys charge for that?
Well, it's normally like $1,000, but Mark can get you into like a keys program, and you'll be able to throw your listing agents and buyer agents into some other stuff that he has. And I'll probably get you in for like $799 instead of the $1,000. But
and so would that be for my agents to coach in there, or would that be for my ISAs?
It'd be both. What you're going to want to do is Mark would do an orientation with your whole group, and then because some calls are going to be pointless for your ISAs. And you definitely want to take advantage of the advanced group. The advanced group is the professional selling that happens on Thursday. The foundations group is more focused on holding the ISAs accountable to numbers, the spreadsheets. So when they first come into our program, a lot of people think that they're being taught sales stuff right from us. They're listening to our ISAs and they're asking them questions, and they're typing in the live chat box with other people across the country and screen sharing and all that fun stuff. But we put them in a foundations group first to build the systems, to get the accountability in place, and really to hone in a valid conversation to appointment ratio per lead sources, because that valid conversation to appointment ratio is going to be different for expired, FSBOs, internet stuff, and you have to get them in the habit of tracking and being accountable to those spreadsheets, and more importantly, getting the other documents and systems in place before you move them on to the sales program. So depending on their learning curve or where they're at, it'll take 60 to 90 days before we graduate them into the advanced group. If you have a pretty advanced person, you have your own systems, you have your own stuff, you might just have them spot check both groups, and then they'll just run both the advanced and foundations group all at once. But it's usually most people when they come into our program are 30-1 with the internet leads. And what I mean, it takes 30 valid conversations to get one good appointment. Our brand promise is how I can get our ISAs ramped up, even though proximity is power. We can get you 8 to 12 valid conversations to get a qualified appointment. And that's on used data. If you're running the hybrid system and it's going out to your agents and staying in their accounts. But if you're one of these smaller teams that's going to run everything through a couple ISAs, then we can get you 5 to 7 to 1, 5 to 7 valid conversations to one appointment, one qualified appointment.
What are your thoughts on, for example, big teams, for example, like Mark Spain, where they have, I think Mark pulled all the leads from all his agents, and he has every single lead go to his ISA team now. So it sounds like you've done that before.
I have done that before. And when I was talking about coaching Mark Spain's group, they coached with us for about 8 months last year.
Oh, so you were coaching them?
Yeah.
Oh, shit. What are your thoughts on the way he's running that?
I think he has a smart leader over there. I like that guy. I think that they know their shit. They run a little different team than we do. I know they do more units and more production, but they do it with like triple the agents. And so if you can't hold your agents accountable, then you are going to have to take responsibility for the business and just do whatever's necessary. We're still a smaller team in terms of agent count. And so much is given, so much is expected around here. And if he feels like his leverage is over his call center, then I support that. However, I coach against that model because I've done it before and it bottlenecked us and it hindered our business from growth. And when I made that one small change, our business exploded. I mean, it was probably 2012 actually when we grew by 75% and got on the Inc. 5000 list. I was running everything through a couple ISAs, and just giving the agents appointments because they wasn't responding to leads fast enough, doing whatever was necessary. There wasn't no like Adam Bailey's or Sam's or Tim's or, anybody really around that had this stuff mastered yet back in 11 and 12. And we made that change in 2012. And we went from 388 units sold or 350, 380 units sold that previous year to 688 units sold. So, I mean, we grew by
doubled
almost 75%. So, I'm a believer in that, and we've grew by 30% to 75% every single year, except this last year. We went through an acquisition. Gerwig sold his equity off. Focused with expansion teams and figuring that next level out because we're just not finding a leader in a market center like KW. I mean, we're really having to bootstrap this deal. And so wherever your focus goes, that's where your results going to flow at. And so, Wichita has just been kind of just sustaining at that same level. And we've been growing more of our expansion teams and stuff like that. But, I believe in, hiring self-managed, self-accountable people, if not coaching them up or coaching them out of the business. I know Mark Spain, I think, has, a couple hundred agents. And, we're hovering around, 50 agents and 80 as a whole organization with staff and agents. And so, maybe that next level for us, we're even looking at changing our business model a little bit because we own our brokerage, not just the team in it. And I think that you have to look at your team model as a funnel to your brokerage because about every 18 to 24 months, I'm dealing with agent turnover because they just don't want to be it's kind of what Kinder Reese was Mike and Jay were starting to talk about last year was you can only hit a ceiling. Like you get to that 500 to 1,000 mark in terms of units and you're constantly having to retrain, deal with turnover. This will be this is going on my 8th year in real estate. And I am in the middle of rebuilding the Wichita team. And so that's consistent with that 18th to 24 month mark. Because if you tell people they can't graduate to something or they have to remain a specialist in this role, even though they're making 6 figures, their life and balance is in check. If you go back to what Tony Robbins says, one of our top 2 needs as human beings is contribution and growth. And if you're not learning and growing and contributing to something on a larger scale, people are going to leave you because of other things other than money. Because most of the people leave, they fail and their income takes a hit. But they feel like they're learning more or something like that. And so if we could graduate them to a different split under our brokerage and get out of the coaching business on our team and into the consulting business to show them how to grow operations, do their own marketing. It cuts all of our expenses and overhead once they graduate to that brokerage, but then they're still under our tent and then we're still making money off of them, just like any other brokerage they go work for is going to be able to do. And then what happens is it keeps that ego in check where if they fail, being self-sufficient,
they can always come back to the team.
Bingo, they can swing back to the team without the ego and everybody knows that they left us and then them having to suck their pride up and come talk to Adam or one of our other owners. And so then they could swing back and forth. And so these are some modifications that we're actually knee deep into making decisions of changing because I think this is the difference between us getting to from 150 million might not seem like a lot in your market. I think your average price range is what, a couple 100,000 or what are you at?
It's 224.
Yeah. So 150 million might not seem like a lot to you, but to do 1,000, 1,100 units, I mean, that's what it takes to do that type of volume here. And I think this is a way for us to get to that billion mark is make these modifications. And then as we expand with our expansion teams, we show them how to build the funnel for new agents, recruits, buyer agents, and they can still run these high-powered teams within these brokerages that they own for us. But then there's another career track that people don't have to leave us after 24 months, and we give them a clear path to independency and self-sufficiency. And then we get out of the coaching business at that time, like I was saying, a more of the consulting role of how to actually run a business, and we'll charge them for our services. They can still, if they're going to generate their own leads, they can still sync into our call center. It's less in the management business, but more in the brokerage owner business. I turned 36 in January, and I've been running sales team and doing what I'm doing since the age of 22. And this is my 4th year rebuilding. And as I'm expanding, I'm like, shit, man, I don't want to be running these high-powered teams 10 years from now. And so,
because it seems like every year, and I feel the same pain. It's like every year you're having a fucking like almost restart every year and a half or so. It's like the little reset button. People leave, got to start all over again, and you're kind of. So we're stuck at our level, and it seems like you guys are kind of at that level where like 900 or 1,000, 1,100 deals every year. But how do you break through?
Right. Well, yeah. Yeah, absolutely. So when I look at my own personal growth, I worked in the field for 4 years, did well, and then also was growing the business. And then about 4 years ago, the pendulum swing happened. And then I was able to move into more of, CEO, actual ownership, team lead position, but I'm still very hands-on and driving the organization. And when I look at like that next level, like what is that in terms of, can this operations grow without me? Like that's the question I'm trying to crack. How does an organization grow without me, or without me trying to hire another Adam Bailey? And it's getting so much out of it's getting out of the coaching business and management business and more in the consulting business. But you have to look at your team as that funnel. And that really just hit me in the last, I don't know, probably year and a half. And
what do you mean by getting out of the coaching business and into the consulting? Getting out of coaching who?
Coaching our team. So everybody that comes into our organization, I'm having to coach the coaches that coach them, or I'm giving William Wallace speeches from the front of the room, or I'm having to hold them accountable to the numbers, right? Because when you make investments into people, you have to hold them accountable. So that's what I consider coaching. Like what I'm doing with you right now is it's more consulting. So it's more high level conversation. Like consulting is looking at numbers, talking about marketing, talking about people, processes, system. Coaching is more how to coach people to hone a skill set, how to convert, how to service their business, how to manage fires, how to balance their life. Like coaching
higher level.
Coaching to me is lower level stuff versus consulting, right? And most of the people on my team I can't consult with, because if I consult with them, then they're going to be able to extract. If I give them everything I have, they're going to be able to extract all that, and then they can go compete against me. What they know is that I run a coaching and consulting company, and they know that I give different information to different rainmakers and people across the country that I never share with them. How do you think that makes them feel, right? And then there's no career path or no steps or nothing to aim for to where they can be on equal footing, because everybody wants to be Adam Bailey. Everybody wants to be that person, or they want to aim for that moon, right?
And have you considered like the mentor program that, for example, Jeff Cook is doing down in South Carolina? Where his buyer's agents come in, they rock and roll it, and then 2 or 3 years down, now they're in a mentorship role, and then eventually they're leading an office.
Yeah. So our mentor program is more so, that word expert, it really means something to us, and so we want full-time professional experts working in our organization. I have people that's been in the business 30 years, 20 years. And however, we have a lot of new people, and we need to feed that funnel. So the mentor program hasn't been so much to open offices, which I've talked about that, and I love that. Our stuff has been, if you're new, like you have to come work under one of our coaches, and then you have to be able to pay them fees for like your first 10 deals until you can graduate to be a standalone agent.
So your coaches are kind of like your mentors.
Right.
And so let me ask, while we're on that topic, what do your coaches get paid?
So our listing agents are paid 30%. I mean, they just show up to appointments and present. They don't really prospect like what I was talking about in the beginning of this call, like our buyer agents team does, right? So and then we're getting 6% off the top, yada, yada, yada. And they're collecting transaction fees. If not, we charge them $4.95 on the listing side. The buyer side, we pay buyer agents 45% for their first 3 deals, and then 50% for every deal after that. And then it restarts monthly. And the transaction fee is $2.95 that we suggest that they collect. And if they don't, we charge them $95. And we get the 6% off the top because we own the brokerage. Now, if you're a coach or a team lead for me, I pay 55% across the board. No escalation or anything like that. Now,
so you're not giving them like an override on the other people. You just give them a little bit more on their own deals.
I've tried to go to that override, but I mean, they've kind of been hesitant to want to do it. I mean, so I think they've just done it out of pure scarcity because, a lot of our coaches are selling, 5 to 10 homes a month. And they're like, I'd just rather keep my income on that. Right now, we're looking at changing a lot of our systems, the broker systems, the team systems. About every, about every 3 years, 2.5 years, we've made some changes to our systems. It's kind of been reactionary to the turnover, and then we've made tweaks and modifications here or there. But I think this is my 4th year going through what I'm going through. The acquisition to our brokerage has finally occurred and happened and is over. And so now we can give everything a fresh look and a new take to get to that. Because I'm looking at
Didn't you guys own the brokerage before anyways?
Yeah. But there was 4 of us. There was 4 of us that owned the brokerage. It was Gerbic and then me and 2 other guys. Gerbic was a majority owner. We were buying Gerbic out, us 3, big multi-million-dollar deal. Things have broke down for other things other than price. And then a guy that owned 70% market share that owned a title company here in town, he started about the same time I did and scaled that thing up to 150 employees, 70% market share. He cashed out his partnership and bought Mike's majority ownership. And he's like, I believe in you guys. I know all the 3 partners. We have a good relationship with them. And he's like, let's take a run at this. And so my deal with him, it was like, let's do it. And then I had a 3-year non-compete because I was going to sell my ownership and just, go just restart. The thing got so big. And if Mike was going to sell, it was just like, whatever. And so I decided that I'm going to stay around for this 6-month transition and to keep our partners intact, keep everything intact. And then end of December, I'm going to reevaluate my situation. But, man, I own part of Select Homes. Select Homes owns part of Select Homes Coaching, and then I personally own that entity. So I got a lot tied up into this. And so, I mean, if our visions align and this guy wants to scale and go national like I want to continue working on, then everything's going to work and be fine. I'm just a vote at the table. Partnerships can be good and they can be bad. I mean, you can't run it like a dictatorship, right? You got to be able to be diplomatic and vote on stuff and collaborate. But you're truly able to pool all resources together. And the money that this guy has backing him gives us unlimited resources in terms of expanding, scaling a call center, helping put more systems and technology in place, even with our coaching company, because we've bootstrapped and paid for everything. We've never had any investors or anything like that. And to be able to bring this guy in with the type of money that he has is pretty awesome. And work ethic means a lot to me, not just being able to take profit distributions. And this dude's a hustler. And it was his first full week with us. I mean, he was working day and night with me, and I don't see that slowing down. So pretty excited.
That's badass, man.
We'll see what happens.
Congrats. It sounds like a move in the right direction for sure.
Yep, and I'll reevaluate everything in December and go from there. So, but I'm excited, man. I mean, Select Homes is a great company, and it's a big thing. But I want to get to 2,000 units. Everybody watched me scream from the mountaintops at 300 units that we'd sell 1,000. I got us there. And then I opened a couple of expansion offices, and then we've kind of plateaued. So I'm kind of took a step back, catching my breath, and I'm like, what's next, right? So.
Good for you, bro. Let me ask you this. I know your time is valuable here. So how do you guys manage the schedules for the ISA team? Do they kind of, yeah.
So I was putting people in seats for like 8 or 9 hours at a time, and I was burning people out. And then towards like the end of their shift, like diminishing value sets in. And I don't know, it was towards like the end of like when Jay was like really rocking. Like, remember when he used to do all those conference calls and used to get on there and spit flames like in 2012,
yeah,
2013. I mean, and then he kind of started tailoring off in the background. I was on a call with him when they was delivering some Darren Hardy stuff. And, you know, you always hear him talk about jam sessions, right? And you can really get about 90 minutes of clarity in a jam session before you probably need to take a break. And so I told Mike, I said, we need to start chunking our shifts up and doing a better job to get maximum effort out of them, not to just say we have an ass in the chair. And so I said, I was still working in the field at this time. It was my last year, 13 or 14, my last year in the field. And I said, we need to change the hours because I'm working in the call center and I'm working in the field, and I have a good pulse of how long I would personally want to be on the phone. So then I came up with 3 hours on the phone, an hour lunch, and then 3 more hours on the phone, right? But how do you cover from 8 in the morning till 9 o'clock at night? And that's what we did for a couple years until this last year. I started to really notice 7-ish I could get by with that because I was having a hard time with accountability up until 9, younger people, and everybody's in our call center is licensed, and so we make investments in them, and it just it was just hard to find that 9 o'clock shift. I found somebody that's consistent, got her license. She's been with me almost 2 years now that can cover up till 7. But the shifts are
7 p.m. Yep.
Yeah, so the shift is from 8 in the morning on the phone, data management's done, ready to go, 8 in the morning till 3 o'clock. And then I have a 12 to 5 shift, and then or a 10 to 5 shift, I'm sorry. And then a 12 to 7 shift. And so that's the 3 shifts that's covered, and they're covered by any one of the 5 ISAs. Like, I'll have 2 ISAs come in right at 8 just to be hitting to get that, 7:30 to 11 o'clock contact ratio. And then I have one person that does a 10 to 5. Excuse me. And then I have somebody that does the 12 to 7 shift. The inbound ISA, she's here right at 8 o'clock, and she does the 8 to 5:30 shift. He works longer.
And you're in.
The inbound, she works more hours. She works a typical like 8.5 hour mark, just simply because she's not prospecting, selling, influencing. She's handling mailers, she's handling incoming calls, and managing a front desk for our title and lenders with the people in and out for closings and stuff like that.
And then, so she handles like all your radio leads, or do those go to your listing agents?
No, they go right to her. Our listing agents only show up for pre-approved or for qualified listing appointments. They present, get paperwork signed, and negotiate repair requests and show up to closings. We take care of everything with our listing coordinator and ISAs and transactions.
And she also makes $50 if she books the appointment, and that's it. Move on to the next one.
No, she's not paid. I mean, we've already paid to make that phone ring. So the lead acquisition for that inbound has already happened at a higher rate than an internet lead, and so there's no reason to double pay on that. That's just part of her.
Oh, so she's not getting paid. So what does she get paid then?
Oh man, she's like a $12 an hour person. I mean, she's an older lady, just content. She's not a salesperson. She's not trying to drive revenue, but she does know how to ask the right questions in the right order. She knows how to fill out the listing questionnaire. She puts the people in top producer, market snapshot. She gets them on their calendar, sends out the emails. After the appointment, she does follow up with them to see how the appointment went. She does send out the cards and the mailers and stuff like that. But it's not an influential position as our outbound stuff is.
Okay, that makes sense, man. Now, how do you guys cover Saturdays and Sundays?
I push that on the agents with all the outbound stuff. I've had ISAs work on Saturdays before, and I'm not opposed to having an ISA work Saturdays, but to find a professional that I can keep around and I can get them licensed and keep them content with that 40 to 80,000 mark, and not work Saturdays is hard. And then if they are working Saturdays, they're younger kids, and then I'm having to deal with them calling in or jacking, horse playing at work or jacking around. And so I've just pushed that on the agents with the internet leads, make sure you're responsive and stuff like that. With our inbound stuff, sign calls, radio, all of our expensive inbound leads that come in, we have a virtual person here in town that's just offsite that takes those calls from home, and she's just accountable to making that connection, setting the appointment, and processing them. We use a company called CallCap, so we can see if the calls aren't being answered, how long, the duration of those calls, all that stuff. And so that's our accountability metric to make sure every.
What's it called? Call what? Call capture? Call cap?
Yeah, CallCap. They're actually a company out here in town, and we use them for all of our marketing and for tracking purposes. This is another little nugget for you because we've branded our 6840000 with all of our radio and all of our marketing, but with all of our offline stuff and all the other marketing, we mask that 684 number with a unique number that we can produce infinite numbers from CallCap for, so we can track the ROI of our marketing or how well we're getting responses off of marketing. It's a good way for us to test and keep track of it and hold people accountable as well.
I do the same thing right now through TeleTracker, so I could see what's pulling and not.
Yeah.
Do you guys pay your ISAs a referral fee if they're like, oh, I got a friend of mine that wants to buy a house? Do you pay them like a 25% referral fee or any of that stuff or no?
Yeah, we do. They're licensed, so why not? We'll pay a traditional referral fee.
And then are your ISAs employees or independent contractors?
Employees. We offer health insurance, and they're employees. And we want them to be. We want them to be good positions. I try to make this as great a position as possible to cut down on retention.
And then do you pay weekly, bi-weekly, or bi-monthly?
Weekly.
Okay. This is good shit, man. I'm sure I got a gazillion other fucking questions, but
yeah, this is why people have been nudging me to start doing some one-on-one coaching. All my coaching has been in group coaching and normally with ISAs or new people in an organization. And due to time restraints, I haven't opened this up for one-on-one. But I think sometime in 2018 or towards the end of this year, I'm going to roll out some Rainmaker coaching or CEO coaching or some team lead stuff, just because I preferably like just to deal with people like yourself versus having to manage a bunch of ISAs and our coaching. But that was just a niche to get people trained. Coaching was something I didn't even want to get into. There was just such a high demand and nobody was delivering. Yeah. And I was just like, shit, I guess I just got to do it take one for the industry.
If you could do it all over again, in terms of building out the real estate company and the ISA team, what would you do differently?
I would do exactly what I'm doing now without all the learning lessons and burning through the money and relationships and all the heartache and long nights to get to where I'm at now, man. I have a good operations I'm setting on, sales and operations. And I just didn't fall on top of the mountain. So I just do exactly what I'm doing now if I had to restart. I probably would have learned a lot quicker in my early 30s. I'm about to turn 36. That we should have looked at different ways of making money off of our brokerage, just not our team, because we were pretty arrogant with our team and kicking everybody's ass in Kansas and Wichita and being number one. And now I'm about to turn 36, getting a little older, seeing this turnover. I'm really looking at our team as a funnel to build our brokerage, not the team being the holy grail any longer. Like, yeah, I'm going to scale our team and I'm going to show other people across the nation how to scale a team, but I'm going to show them how to build a brokerage. So you're not working in the business or even on the business so much, but something can grow and sustain and be healthy in the absence of myself. Like, what happens in 10 years when I want to spend months at a lake house or months doing whatever I want to do? Is the brokerage going to fall apart? Is a team going to evaporate? And so, being able to build a business that's going to thrive without an alpha.
Without you there in place.
Without
Do you feel like right now, like, your team, if you weren't there every single day working as hard as you were and hustling like that, you think things would fall apart?
No, but it would definitely take a hit. I mean, people are here because of me. People follow me. People need to see me. I used to run our Wednesday meeting and give presentations every week. I might be doing that monthly, covering numbers, covering some power content. Like, I dropped some stuff on the internet. I gave a presentation, like the extreme ownership. Like, I'll get in front of our group and spit some flames, set the vision, set the tone. Last year I was doing that every other week. And so I've been scaling myself out of the organization. Did we have turnover because of that, or people's no longer working directly with me or seeing me that much anymore? Yeah, without a doubt. But it's just like next who's on deck. 2 years ago, I only had two coaches and 2 team leads. A listing team lead that manages 3 to 5 listing agents, and then I had a buyer's agent that was managing like 25 to 30 buyer agents. And now I have 7 team leads and 3 expansion partners. And so I started to learn that I couldn't scale myself, and I had to start duplicating my efforts and focusing not so much on building followers or agents, but really
building leaders.
Right. And I know we've all seen the memes and all that stuff, but ego's lost me a lot of money, but it's also made me a lot of money. And so as I'm getting older, I'm trying to not subjectively look at things, but I'm trying to objectively look at things and remove myself from all the equations. And when I'm looking at everything and I'm sitting in our board meetings, in our executive meetings, in our coaches meeting, every decision I make is it's not like what works best for us for being reactionary at this particular moment to deal with this problem that we have. But is it scalable and duplicatable without any of us? Like, when you go into McDonald's there in Orlando, you want that Big Mac to taste the same, look the same, smell the same, and be delivered in the same time frame as if you got it here in Wichita, Kansas, right? And that's kind of the philosophy of how I'm proactively moving forward with stuff.
Makes sense, man. Hey, brother, would you happen to have an ISA employee agreement that you could share with me?
I mean, we got some of that. I mean, we got it all just tied into our whole operating agreement. So when they come on board, it's part of the employee manual and everything that they sign. I mean, a lot of that stuff's proprietary to us, but I can get you. I have some other examples. I could send you 10 to 7 examples from other companies or other coaching companies that have put that stuff out there, and you'll be able to construct yours off of that. I mean,
that would be helpful, man. Absolutely. Last question. What advice? I'm obviously not pounding out 2,000 deals or any of that, but what advice would you give, for example, like if you coached Mark Spain, what advice would you give him if you wanted to scale that to 4,000 deals a year?
You know what? His ISA just coached in our ISA program. So for me to say.
So you weren't coaching Mark directly; you were coaching his ISA.
Yeah, I mean, he was his lead ISAs and ISAs were in our ISA program. So, so I couldn't tell you what problems he currently has today or what hurdles he's facing to be able to get to that next level. I just know he's done it, his units through expanding of agents, and I think that's the right way. Like, the suggestion that I'm giving myself and you is probably what I'm going to be actually coaching on and speaking from stage in the next couple of years as this works. I watched a lady. She wrote an article with Inman, and I think she spoke there. She grew to like 180 agents in like less than a year, and she kind of was just running a small team, but open it up to this option model. And it was exactly what I've been thinking this last couple of years. And so everybody right now, the trending shit like 3-4 years ago was ISA stuff. Now the whole nation's on it, right? But all this stuff's old to us. The team model, you and I've been being coached on this stuff for 5-10 years now, and now it's the cool shit to do to own a team, regardless if you're just a group of people working together. But the thing is, the next thing is to own your own brokerage and to use your team as a funnel to build your brokerage. And people are going to have to learn the way I learn. Like, they're going to have turnover issues. They're going to have to put the systems in, change commission structures, add more value. They're going to have to go through the same things you and I are going through. And when they're a couple years down the road experiencing the stuff I've been experiencing, hopefully I can deliver a message to them to help them get over the same hump and same issues and problems that I'm facing, because I'm solving them right now. And nobody's really looking at their team as a funnel to build their brokerage or to create more career paths, right? So,
but I think we're all kind of feeling the pain, though. The pain is there. And in talking with Mark in previous conversations, it's the same shit. He's got turnover every 1.5 to 2 years, and they're hiring a bunch of new agents. But he is definitely stacked with agents, and that's how he's able to produce that many sales, agent count.
Yeah. Well, and I would assume I was actually thinking about Mark the other day when I was thinking about him. I was thinking, wonder what his commission split is. Like, I mean, we keep a lion's share of our commission because the value is there, and our people are making 6 figures and living a balanced life. And so also, it's like, how much are you giving up to be able to get those type of units too? So.
No, I think he's got commission percentages around the range that we do, but he's giving them appointments. He's no longer giving them leads.
That's a shit ton of appointments for that many agents, man. I take my hat off to them guys, man.
Are your ISAs making close to 6 figures or 6 figures on that commission plan that you have them on?
No, they're in between 40,000 to 70,000. You have to think, if you make 50,000 here in Wichita, like, you're doing well. I mean, if you're making 6 figures here, I mean, you're like a 1%er here in Wichita. I mean, our cost of living is so low here, and just our minimum wage is like $7.15, I think.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, I think mine's like $8.50 or some shit like that in my market.
Yeah.
Well, listen, bro. We can sit here and chat all day, but I know I want to respect your time. Thank you for giving me the past hour, bro. This is amazing. If you want to send me the paperwork to coach with you guys, I'll look it over. But I do want to get my guys into coaching. So this is part of the value proposition to them.
Yeah, Mark's the one that can dig into every benefit with that. I mean, he's the one that handles all of those conversations and goes through all that stuff. So if you're interested in understanding what the Keys program is, or what's in each package and what would be best for your ISAs and agents, I mean, he's the person that could go over that with you. And so I'll have him reach out to you. I mean, if it works, it works. I just hooked you up with this session because, you're in my network. I respect you. So it's not about the money, man. It's about giving back and the value. So I did record this conversation. I'll probably drop it in the Inside Sales group if you don't mind.
Yeah, that's fine.
Right.
Yeah, I don't think we're really, it's cool.
All basic shit.
Yep.
All right, brother. All right.
All right, man. Thank you so much for the time, bro. Appreciate it.
Yep. Later.
Have a good one. Bye.